So you're worried about side effects from finasteride. Well, in this video, I'm going to explain what those side effects are, how likely they are to happen, and what you can do to mitigate them. I myself had sexual side effects which caused me to stop taking it, and I know it wasn't a nocebo effect. The side effects can be very real for some people, but that doesn't mean to just completely give up on your hair. My hair is actually better now than 7 years ago when I gave up finasteride due to the side effects. So there are some good options. It's just worth being well educated on the potential side effects and know what you can do moving forward. Let's take a deeper look in this video. The best place to start when it comes to finasteride side effects is the package insert. This is an official document that the FDA must approve word for word. In it, Merck, the makers of Propecia, list the following common side effects: decrease in sex drive, reduced libido, trouble getting or keeping an erection, which is erectile dysfunction, a decrease in the amount of semen. More rare side effects listed on the package insert are breast tenderness and enlargement, gynecomastia, depression, allergic reactions including rash, itching, hives, and swelling, testicular pain, blood in semen, male infertility and/or poor quality of semen, in rare cases, male breast cancer. In the category of rare side effects, we also find these 3 side effects: decrease in sex drive that continued after stopping the medication, problems with ejaculation that continued after stopping the medication, difficulty in achieving an erection that continued after stopping the medication. These 3 side effects describe various aspects of post-finasteride syndrome, so we can see it is a very real thing in some men. And Merck listed them in the package insert after the FDA compelled them to. But that's a story for another video. Let's go back to the most common side effects, the sexual ones. The package insert doesn't give us any statistics, but from many published studies involving thousands of participants, we now have a pretty good idea. One of the original studies that led to finanasteride's FDA approval found that 4.2% of men who took finasteride 1 mg daily reported sexual side effects. This compared to 2.2% for the placebo group. These are figures from the first year of treatment. Another study funded by Merck a few years later found sexual side effects in 1.9% of men on finasteride compared to 0.9% on placebo. These are all figures for the 1 mg dosage as it applies to hair loss. But finasteride is also prescribed at 5 mg strength for the treatment of benign prostate enlargement. An obvious question is, how much more severe are the sexual side effects in the 5 mg dosage? Surprisingly, the answer is not at all. Research on finasteride for prostate enlargement came before the hair loss research, and originally Merck explored 2 dosages for prostate patients: 5 mg, which was eventually chosen, and 1 mg. A large factor in making that decision was going to come down to differences in side effects. In other words, even if the 5 mg dosage leads to better prostate outcomes, is it worth it if the side effects are disproportionately high? The study recruited nearly 900 men who were randomly assigned to receive either 5 mg, 1 mg, or placebo. Erectile dysfunction was actually more frequent in the 1 compared to the 5 mg group, 5% versus 3.4%. Similarly, for the reduced libido at 6% for the 1 mg group compared to 4.7% for the 5 mg. Problems with sperm production were equally as common, 4.4% in either group. On the basis of these results, the researchers concluded that there is no safety issue with going above 1 mg, and they recommended the 5 mg dosage thereafter. So why don't side effects get worse when you go from 1 to 5 mg? The answer is we don't really know. What about sperm changes? We mentioned earlier changes in sperm and reproductive problems as one of the side effects. One of the best studies in this regard was published in 2007. It followed 34 healthy men who took finasteride 5 mg daily for 12 months. Unlike what's suggested in the patient information sheet, the researchers found that the changes in sperm are not that rare. They actually affect most users. 26 weeks or half a year into the treatment, the average sperm count for the finasteride users had dropped by a whopping 34%. After 1 year, this percentage decline was 16% compared to baseline, a difference that was no longer statistically significant. There was a similar story for total semen volume. This dropped by 21% at the half-year mark, but rebounded somewhat by the 1-year mark to only 14.5% decline from baseline. One exception to this gradual recovery after the 6-month mark was sperm motility. In other words, the percentage of healthy, forward-moving sperm cells. This declined by 10.5% at the 6-month mark and remained unchanged after 1 year. As we mentioned, these results were with the 5 milligram dose. But remember that the two doses don't seem to have a noticeably different side effect profile, meaning we can reasonably extrapolate these findings to the 1 milligram dosage for hair loss. Now, what about when things get really bad to the point of seriously impacting fertility? A separate 2013 study with men who sought medical help for fertility issues looked at those who were on finasteride. The study authors identified 27 such men. On average, each of these men had been on treatment for between 4 to 5 years, so much longer use than the previous study. The researchers found that after stopping finasteride, these men had an average 11-fold increase in their sperm counts. There were no changes in other sperm parameters. The takeaway from these studies is that if you're trying or considering trying for a baby, it might be a good idea to take a break from finasteride. Your doctor will be able to advise you on this. Now, going back to sexual side effects as a whole, those who develop them can be roughly divided into 2 groups. One group will get them for a few days to a couple of weeks after starting treatment. Side effects in this group will also tend to resolve quite quickly if they stop treatment. Oftentimes, they turn out to be temporary and resolve even when the patients stay on finasteride. In a second group of patients, there might be no side effects for the first few months. Then they appear anywhere from a few months to a year and a half into treatment. Now, even though finasteride has a relatively short half-life, over several months it builds up in the tissues. So the second group of patients might need a bit longer for their side effects to resolve, even if they completely stop taking finasteride. So what do I do if I get side effects? This should go without saying really, but if you get any side effects, you need to immediately consult your doctor. Working together, you can then decide the best course of options. Depending on the type and severity of side effects, this will generally be something along these lines. Make no changes and wait and see if the symptoms will resolve on their own, which often they can do. Reduce the frequency or dosage. We know that a daily dosage of 0.2 milligrams is almost as effective as the recommended 1 milligram with fewer side effects. This is often a very good option for people who can still get good regrowth from that low dose. Take a break from finasteride with the option to resume after 1 or 2 months. Finasteride is not like minoxidil. If you stop, you won't lose all your new hair in such a quick and dramatic fashion as minoxidil. So taking a month off before resuming probably won't affect your hair one way or another too much. One option is to switch to a topical version. This is something your doctor can prescribe off-label for you to source through a compounding pharmacy. Or give up finasteride altogether and explore other treatment options. And thankfully, we now live in a time where there are loads of other treatments, although most are less convenient than finasteride and often less effective. If you're like me in that finasteride isn't an option because of the side effects, don't worry, there are other options. I take a multi-pronged approach. This involves using a scalp brush with Maxoxidil. Maxoxidil is like minoxidil, but with maximum power. You can also use a derma roller once per week, although to be fair, I use it way less now. And do scalp massages or use the Grow Band Pro for 10 minutes per day. That's my routine anyway, and I have 0 side effects. It's less convenient than taking finasteride, but I've found that it works for me. Microdosing finasteride can be a very good option for a lot of people. Simply reduce the dose and you reduce the chances of side effects, but often get most of the benefits. Microdosing finasteride combined with Maxoxidil topical and the Grow Band could be a really powerful stack in my opinion. Okay guys, that's it for this video. If you found this helpful, please leave a like, subscribe if you're not already, and if you've got any questions, leave a comment because I answer them all individually. Also, head over to hairguard.com to learn more about Maxoxidil and the Grow Band. Alright, see you in the next video.